Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good day, everyone. Right, so in this video, I'm going to share with you the briefing part, okay, regarding our final assessment, which is on recommendation report. So I'm going to go straight away to the question paper. And then after that, we're going to look at the sample of the recommendation report and also the outline that you have to prepare in your group. Okay, so please bear with me and I'm going to share the screen with all of you now. Right. Okay. So this is the question paper. So this is going to be assessment 3 recommendation report and it carries 30% of your overall marks. Okay. So you will be evaluated based on 3 components: content, language, and delivery. So delivery means that you are going to present in the class. Okay. And then at the same time, you also need to run your Turnitin similarity index. Okay. Don't forget and don't worry about this, because I have, like we are in the same class, okay, still in the same class that we have used for our first assessment. So I'm going to create another tab or assignment for this purpose in Turnitin. Then I will share the link, then you can join in and then you can submit your works, okay? All right, let's have a look at the general instructions for this assessment. Before that, the course learning outcome is to propose a recommendation effectively using appropriate skills and strategies. So the instructions here, you have to read the instructions carefully. So whatever it is, please read or refer back to the question paper before you ask me anything, okay? And also do not forget to watch the video until the end for the purpose. So you have to choose one scenario and write a recommendation report outline. So only outline, not the full version. So as in our previous online class, I have mentioned to you that you are going to write only on 1.0 introduction until 2.0 statement of requirements, okay? And then the recommendation report outline should be submitted latest by 13th of June. Okay, 13th of June 2025. So 13th of June is going to be on Friday. Okay, and I'm going to create this tab in our Microsoft Teams. So only the group leader will be in charge of submitting this. Okay, and then the presentation for the recommendation report will be conducted in class, okay, in week 14. So from the 16th until 19th of June 2025. So all of you will be presenting it during the class session. So I will arrange for the groups, okay, like the sequence, which group will be presenting in the first meeting and in the second meeting. Okay, now let's have a look at the detailed instruction. So this assessment requires you to work in groups of 3 or 4, and then we have covered this, okay? I believe that you have completed the list. Choose only one out of the 2 scenarios and consult your instructor for topic approval by week 12 first meeting. So we are now in week 11. So next week, we are going to have consultation only for your final assessment. So what is the first scenario given here? Okay, so your team is part of an organization currently experiencing a technical or operational challenge. Okay, technical or operational challenge that requires a physical product as a solution. Physical product meaning that you can see, you can touch, and then you can feel it. Okay, something that is tangible. So your team has been tasked with evaluating and recommending one of 2 products from different manufacturers or industries or companies. Okay, so you are going to compare 2 products, okay, all right, and then from different manufacturers or industries or companies. Okay, so 2 products from 2 different manufacturers. For example, if you are going to talk about an excavator, okay, and then you're going to choose 2 different manufacturers. One will be Caterpillar, the other one will be Komatsu, for example. All right, and then you have to present your evaluation of both options and your final recommendation. So you will need to do this for the following part on topic approval. So number 1, you have to determine the organization that you are working for. Okay, it can be Petronas, Intel, Samdabi, etc. Okay, and then describe the specific issue or problem the organization is facing that requires a product-based solution. Okay, so remember, it must be on technical or operational challenge, okay, the problem, and then you need to have a physical product as your option. Okay, it can be a physical product from two different manufacturers, industries, or companies. Okay, all right. And then explain how the product search was narrowed down to only two options. So you have to make sure that in your outline and also in the report, you stated that in the beginning you have more than two options. Then, after a thorough discussion, you and your team members decided to focus only on two options, okay? Out of four, for example, and then you choose only two and justify why product A and product B were selected. So let's say from the beginning you have four options and then you narrow it down to only two and why the two were selected, okay, as the most suitable solutions based on the organization's needs, okay, statement of requirement. So you refer to the statement of requirement given by your management or the company, then you can further elaborate why the two products were selected, okay. So why do these two options stand out, right? Ask yourself about this, and this is the thing that will guide you in writing for the outline, also the report. So what makes them worth considering for comparison? Why were others rejected? Maybe in terms of costing or pricing, maybe in terms of warranties and so on. So you have to discuss this with your team members. And then how do they meet the company's priorities or needs? Okay, and what criteria did you apply to filter them out? So how do they meet the company's priorities or needs? So you can talk about the statement of requirements given by the company and the final two products meet that requirement, for example. Okay, and lastly, what are the criteria that you use to filter the rest of the suggested products in the beginning, and then you focus only on the two final options. So identify, number 3, for research-based criteria, sorry. Okay, so you have to identify 4 research-based criteria, which will be the points of comparison that will help you to determine which option is the most suitable, okay? All right, each point must be supported by data, citations, or other relevant evidence. So, for instance, you go for pricing. So, where do you get the information from? Okay, let's say the official website and so on. So, you have to support your findings from the, you have to support your statement from the findings from the other resources. So, you have to do this, okay? This will be an added value to your written report. And then make sure that all your supporting data and evidence are accompanied by in-text citation. So you have learned about this in ULE2332, English for Academic Communication. And then you correspond with the references formatted according to APA 7th edition. So you have to have in-text citation. So for example, the price for Komatsu excavator with the model number of blah, 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 blah will be RM 750,000 ringgit. Where do you get the information from? You have to have the in-text citation. And when it comes to the references, the information that you have stated in the in-text citation should also be reflected in the references. Okay. Right. Then scenario number 2. Okay. Your team is part of an organization that is currently experiencing a procedural or operational challenge that requires a process-based solution. So the first scenario, physical product. Second scenario, process-based solution. So your team has been tasked with evaluating and recommending one of the two processes or standard operating procedures to improve the situation. So you and your team members were given the task, okay, to evaluate and then recommend only 2 options at the end of it, and then which one is going to be the best solution to overcome your procedural or operational challenge, okay? All right. So your final recommendation, okay, and before that, you have to follow these things, okay, in order to get the topic approved. So you have to identify the organization and a specific procedural problem that needs to be addressed. For example, inefficiency, safety, communication gap. For instance, okay, there is a miscommunication in terms of delivery of the products, okay, the final products. So you are going to overcome this thing, okay? So this is more on process based. What went wrong? Okay, maybe you're going to overlook back at the SOP, and then you're going to change few things here and there, for instance, all right? And then number two, explain how the search for processes or the SOPs was narrowed down to only two options and justify why process or SOP A and B were selected as the two most suitable solutions based on the organization's needs, which is on the statement of requirements. Similar like in the first scenario. So in the beginning, maybe you have more than two options, okay? And then how you narrow it down to only two and why you are doing so, okay? So basically, the bulleted points over here are the same like in the first scenario. Then you should also support or identify four research-based criteria, okay, that will help you to determine which option is the most suitable, okay? So your elaboration, your point must be supported by data, citations, and other relevant evidence as well. So this is similar like in the first scenario, and everything should be written according to APA 7th edition. So the in-text citation and the referencings should follow the in-text citation or APA 7th edition. Okay, so do not forget, I have shared the link earlier in our WhatsApp group, which website that you can refer to in terms of writing this in-text citation and references according to the APA 7th edition. Okay, right. So this is going to be the detailed instructions. Okay, you are given the two scenario over there, all right, previously. Then you decide, okay, which is going to be the best scenario that you're going to do or focus on, and then this is the instruction. So this assessment consists of two parts: Part A, recommendation report outline, and Part B, recommendation presentation. So, okay, for Part A, based on the given scenario, discuss in your group and use the provided recommendation report outline template. Okay, it is given in page 6, but don't worry, I have it in the Word form, so you can edit the Word form later. Okay, so to present your topic to your instructor for approval in week 12 first meeting. So by next week, hopefully by the end of our first meeting, all right, then you can give me your topic for me to approve, okay? All right, for the topic approval, present all the information stated above, such as your organization, statement of the problem, the two proposed products or process or SOP for recommendation, the statement of requirements, and the 4 points of comparison or the criteria. Okay, so once approved, you have to submit the recommendation report outline by week 13 June 2025, using the provided template. So you prepare it first. Once it is approved, then you have to submit it in full sentences by week 13 June 2025. Okay, so this is the full version, but not the entire report. Remember that for the written part, you have to focus only on 1.0 introduction and 2.0 statement of requirements. Of course, under 1.0, there are 3 other sub-items that you have to focus on, but you can go through it, okay? So you have to include in-text citations where it is applicable from at least 3 sources using APA 7th edition style. And the outline should be between 550 to 700 words, excluding the references section. Only in the report, which is supposed to be written in the full sentences, okay? And the maximum number of words allowed, okay, or we are looking for, will be 700, and the minimum number will be 550. So you have to use Times New Roman, font size 12, and 1.5 spacing for the written part. And do not forget to justify the text alignment for the contents. Okay, and then your report outline should be submitted to Turnitin to detect any form of plagiarism. and your marks will be deducted if the report contains more than 15% of the similarity index. Okay, so please make sure your similarity index percentage is 15% and lower. And then AI tools may be used for the research purpose. However, you have to use it ethically. So you can refer to this instruction in detail later on. Okay. And then if you are using any hub, okay, if you are referring to any hub from the AI tools, it should also be cited in the references. Okay. All right. So that will be about part A. Now let's have a look at part B. Okay. For part B, you have to prepare a recommendation presentation in week 14. So 16 until 19 of June 2025. So this is a group work. Remember that the report, the written report, or the written report outline should be also in group. The same goes in the recommendation presentation. So in a group of 3, okay, or 4, you are going to deliver a 10 minutes presentation if you're working in a group of 3, or 13-minute presentation if you're working in a group of 4, and you must adhere to the allocated time limit. Do not exceed the given time limit, okay? And then marks will be deducted from the presentation that go beyond the time limit. So this time around, I'm going to be a bit strict, whereby you have to follow the time limit. So it means that you have to practice beforehand, okay? So use the Part B recommendation presentation evaluation form, page 11, as a guide to structure and outline your presentation. So you have to prepare a slide presentation or other visual aids to support the presentation. So portray a high standard of professionalism, maintaining a professional appearance during your presentation, suitable to the context in terms of the attire, hairstyle, and also your makeup. Okay, remember that you are representing a company. So you have to assume that, and you have to dress properly. Okay, this is going to be the guidelines for submission on Part A. So you can refer to this on your own later on. And this is going to be the recommendation report outline template. Okay, so for the topic approval part, okay, the shaded rows can be written in a short sentences. Okay, for example, the technical memorandum part, to, from, date, subject, and also the name of the organization can be written in a short sentences. However, the unshaded part over here, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and also 2.0 should be written in full sentences. Okay, all right, then do not forget to also include your references, at least 3, and it should be written according to APA 7th edition format. So this is on the rubrics on part A and how your marks will be, or how your works will be evaluated. So you can refer to this so that you will know how to get better marks for the first part or part A of recommendation report. Okay, so this is the evaluation form for part B recommendation presentation evaluation form, and it carries 45 marks. Okay, for this is actually the raw marks, so you can also refer to this in terms of getting better marks for your presentation. So we have done our first assessment, and if you think that you are not doing well for the first assessment, please refer to the question paper carefully so that you can score better for your presentation in the final assessment. Okay, as you can see over here, for 1.0 and until 1.3, 2.0, okay, you can just present it in general, okay, because you have given the written report. Then on 3.0, which is on discussion, so you're going to discuss about point of comparison number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. So if you're working in a group of 3, you delegate the task. Okay, who will be doing extra on point of comparison 1 and 2, for example, or 3 and 4. Okay, and then it goes to the recommendation 4.0, the summary of it, and then the recommendation itself. Okay, and if you scroll down towards the end of it, then you will see the details. Okay, how do we award you the marks? I even have, okay, we even have the place for me or for the instructor to write their comments. Okay, so this is on the rubric. And my best advice to you, do not forget to refer to the question paper whenever you are in doubt, okay? So you need further clarification and so on. Refer to the question paper first, then only you can ask me, okay? So enough about the question paper. Let's have a look at the sample of the recommendation report, okay? This is the outline, all right? The outline or the final version, okay? But it is not a full report because the sample over here that you are looking at is only on 1.0 introduction and 2.0 statement of requirements, okay? So remember that you are working for a company, so you can have the logo of the company, so technical memorandum, okay, the title of it, okay, project manager, and then the name of the rest of your group members, okay? So you can have this kind of information. It's going to be similar, okay? But it depends on the scenario and the things that you are referring to, okay? And then table of contents, you need to have this kind of thing as well. Okay, however, for the final version that you're going to submit in Microsoft Teams, for 3.0 and 4.0 will not be here, okay? Only 1.0 until 2.0. Right, so this is the written part. So you can refer this in column as well. Don't worry. Okay. Then you can see until 2.0, statement of requirement. Of course, this one is longer. But you're not going to do this kind of thing for this semester. Okay, we started since last semester. For the written part, you focus only until 2.0, which is on statement of requirements, while for the discussion 3.0 and recommendation 4.0, you are going to present it in the class. Okay, so this is what you are going to do. Okay, you can refer to the tables, you can refer, yeah, too many things. Okay, there are many things that you can refer to here, right? Even the references. All right, so done about that. Let's have a look at the sample of the recommendation. Sorry. Let me go back to this thing. Okay, right. So this is the report outline template. Okay, you can also refer to this, and it is also in column. So how it is written for topic approval. So remember that there are 3 stages that you're going to get involved with for this part. Okay, so the first stage is recommendation report outline template. You're going to use this template to get my approval. Okay, so perhaps for the first stage, okay, you are going to have most of the information over here. Of course, it is compulsory. And the rest of the information for 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and then 1.4, okay, you can just write it in general. However, it is highly appreciated if you can have references when you are writing for that part as well. Okay, references in the sense that you can write the in-text citation part in the process or the components over here. Let's say in 1.1, 1.2, or 1.3, and even 2.0, you can have the citation. Okay, that will be the first stage. Okay, once it is approved, we are going to move towards the second stage. The second stage will be the longer version of the recommendation report outline. Okay, so as you are seeing over here, this is actually a bit longer, and you are going to transfer this information in the second stage to this type, okay, to this report. So this is going to be the second stage. And the final stage or the third stage will be when you submit your report in Turnitin and you generate the similarity index report. And then you're going to submit both of the documents, okay, the Turnitin report and also the recommendation report consisting of 1.0 and 2.0 in our Microsoft Teams. I will create the assignment tab later. Then each group leader can submit your works over there. So remember, the third stage, you complete your recommendation report consisting of 1.0 discussion, introduction, and then 2.0 statement of requirements. Okay, you generate the similarity index report, and then you download the report and you submit both of the documents, the recommendation report and the Turnitin report, into our Microsoft Teams, okay, where the assignment will be created later. So that will be all about our assessment tree. Okay, so before I end my recording, as usual, remember that, okay, you have to go through this video first, watch from the beginning until the end, okay, and then do not forget to always refer to the question paper. Read the question paper carefully. If you don't understand, maybe you can discuss among you first, and then after that, if you are still having a problem to understand it, then you can reach me. Okay, so by next week in our first meeting, so it's going to be a group consultation. So most likely it is not going to be a physical consultation. It's going to be an online consultation. So when it comes to our session, I'm going to go online, and then each group can present me their presentation, the recommendation report outline, and then wait for my approval. Okay, so we are going to discuss. I'm going to give my feedback, and then you are going to do the correction. And once you have done it, it can be approved, and you may proceed then with your full version of the recommendation report, consisting only on 1.0 and 2.0. Okay, and also at the same time getting prepared for your presentation. Okay, class. So that's all from me. I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you very much for listening and watching what I have shared with you. And yeah, happy doing your final assessment. So do not hesitate to reach me if you have any problem, and then I will always be there to help and assist you. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and goodbye.